Baseball for Breakfast edition here of Card Central 365 here on STL Sports Central. I'm Joe Roderick, joined alongside by Grant Salsman, and all content brought to you here by DraftKings. The crown is yours. Card Central 365, powered each and every day, 365 days a year by our friends over at Gray Bar. Grant, you were on the postgame show last night with Sarah Daly. You guys talking over the 10-9 loss. The Cardinals today look to avoid the sweep, as you have, I guess, 12 hours now to kind of think back on what you guys talked about last evening. Any additional thoughts here to kick off the show today on what you guys saw last night?
Yeah, I think it's a matter of with the Cardinals lately. There's been a lot of wins or losses, that were a lot of moral victories. Look how the offense fought. Look how they kept the team in it. And Ali Marmol had a lot of positives to take away from it yesterday too. But now I think after a couple of those in a row, you're like, okay, it's time. Let's get an actual victory. I think that needs to happen today. Moral victories are great until you have too many in a row, and then they're just losses at the end of the day. So big one today. I know it's June 11th, but you can't get swept by them. And something I said yesterday, if you win today and you split against the Blue Jays and Dodgers 3-3, it's really not the worst thing in the world, in my opinion, especially going into it. You would have been happy to just take one off the Dodgers and win the series against the Blue Jays. If it's flipped, it's okay. Obviously, you hope for more. You would have hoped for 2 or 3 against the Blue Jays too, but I don't think 3-3 is the worst thing in the world.
We do have a lineup for that. We'll get to that in just a bit here, as there are some things to look at for it. But the Blue Jays right now, 37-30 on the year. I think you can go and look at it right now, and they probably are the hottest team in all of baseball. The way that they're playing, going and beating the Phillies previously before coming into St. Louis, and then they're going to go back and they have, I think they have the Phillies coming up again. Maybe I have to look at their schedule and how that plays out for them, but they've been a very hot team that has gotten themselves back into wild card contention in the American League, and it's a lineup that also just keeps coming at you too. You're seeing, it's one of those cases. It's kind of like the series against the Rangers a few weeks ago, where you look at that team and you're thinking, my God, like, I'm glad that we only faced this team 3 games this season. We don't have to keep going and facing them over and over again, because this is a damn good offense that they have. And we're facing the top 3 pitchers, and the Cardinals have seemed to have gotten on those pitchers as well a little bit here. But as you said, just keep falling short in the game. But clutch hitting still it's been kind of, it's been a tale of different storylines throughout the entire season. At first it was, okay, they're hitting home runs, but the pitching was letting them down. Then the starting pitching is coming, comes back around. The offense isn't there, and that kind of had to do with Herrera getting hurt. And then the bullpen was lights out for a period of time with the pitching. And now we're getting to, okay, it's the clutch hitting seems to be there, and they're not finishing off a lot of these games. And a lot of that is 3 blown saves by Hley in the last week.
Yeah, 3 blown saves by Hley. Obviously, you win one of those games. You don't win on Monday night. And I don't think it's time to press the panic button and wave the flag of that you're freaking out about Ryan Hley. I think he'll be okay. But, yeah, he's not as sharp as he was last year, and that is unfortunate. And I think he always pitches himself into trouble. It seems like last year was able to get out of him more frequently, and this year it just hasn't happened as often.
No, yeah, I think they've used him less. I know last time I went and looked at where he was, where his usage was compared to last year, it was way less, innings pitched than where they were. And it kind of takes you back to about 3 weeks ago or so. There were opportunities where he was either warmed up or he hadn't pitched in a while, and they either got themselves out of save situations, or it was on the cusp of, maybe it was a 5-run game, a 4-run game, and they didn't throw him in there because of that, because that wasn't a save situation. Can't use your closer. And you wonder if the lack of pitching has come back and made him as not as sharp as what we've seen in at least last year too.
Yeah, it's certainly a possibility because it's been weird. It's felt like a lot of Cardinals games, like you said, just haven't been safe situations. Either they're losing by 3 or 4 runs, or they're winning by 3 or 4 runs or 4 or 5 runs. Pardon me. And it just there's no point to use them. So I think we've saw a little bit of rustiness, but I don't think at this point in the season that affects it anymore. I think at this point on June 11th that you're pitching every day in some sort of way. I don't think that's the issue.
No, Cardinals and Cardinals and Jays today. It's a 1:15 game this afternoon, and as I said, we do have the lineups for that. Do want to remind you though that Cards Hub 365 is powered by Gray Bar. 365 days a year, we bring you Cards Hub 365, powered by our friends over at Gray Bar. The lineups are out for today's game. The Cardinals look to get one game out of this 3-game series. Matthew Liberatore on the mound for the Cardinals, 3-5 with a 3.82 ERA on the season. Lars Nootbaar back in the lineup. He is leading off for the Cardinals, playing left. Mason Wynn is at short. Ivan Herrera batting third today, DHing. Wilson Contreras at first. Alec Burleson at right. Nolan Arenado at third. Nolan Gorman at second. Joel Pozo behind the plate. And Victor Scott II is in center field. So no Brendan Donovan, who was removed last night from the game. I know you guys touched on that in the post game yesterday. They said toe discomfort. So haven't heard anything from that yet this morning as the lineup is out. I don't know when the locker room opens and when they'll be able to talk to them. Maybe just a precaution with the day game after the night game and kind of get them a day off before you travel up to Milwaukee for the weekend.
Yeah, I kind of thought today might have been an off day for Brendan Donovan anyway. He's played a lot of games in a row without one. I know he's kind of an Iron Man. He wants to play every single day there's a game, but with some discomfort already, you got a big 4-game set ahead of you. This isn't the worst thing in the world. I'm okay with him being out. You just got to hope that it's just a one-day thing and you can get your all-star bat back in the lineup come Thursday.
Yeah, John Denton did mention last night that the painful left big toe started hurting him last night during the game. X-rays on the toe were negative. Donovan said he could hardly push off his back foot during his final at bat before leading the game. So one of those where you get him off, literally. I mean, you're literally getting him off of his feet today, giving him a break. You need him in those 4 games up in Milwaukee. So the hope is that he'll be ready to go. They'll know more about the severity of it later, hopefully today, to determine what they need to do moving forward with Brendan Donovan. Nolan Gorman has been hitting though. He's kind of come around a little bit, so picking up a little bit of the slack that we saw out of his bat earlier this season. And that's a guy that you want to get hot, and when he gets hot, we've seen it in years past. The home runs will come in bunches for him, and then before he kind of backslides into maybe a few ugly at bats, hopefully several weeks from now.
Yeah, I mean, Nolan Gorman is a guy that the offense was slowing down a little bit. You know, Jordan Walker was hot. He's out. Lars Nootbaar's in a slump. And Donovan now hurt. It's a perfect time for Nolan Gorman to step up, even if it's only for a few weeks. He's put together some really good at-bats in the last few games, and I'm excited to see him. I know it's a lefty on the bump, but it's kind of a bullpen opener game for the Blue Jays, so it's going to be a wide variety of pitchers in. I'm just excited to see Gorman get another chance to start today.
All content here on Cards Central 365 and on STL Sports Central is brought to you by DraftKings. Download the DraftKings Pick 6 app now and use code STL Sports. That's code STL Sports for new customers. Play $5, get $50 in Pick 6 credits. Better payouts, bigger wins, only with Pick 6 from DraftKings. The crown is yours.
Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Help is available for problem gambling. Call 888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org in Connecticut. Must be 18 and over. Age and eligibility restrictions vary by jurisdiction. Pick 6 not available everywhere, including New York and Ontario. Void where prohibited. 1 per new customer. Bonus awarded as non-withdrawable Pick 6 credits that expire in 14 days. Limited time offer. See terms at pick6.draftkings.com/promos.
As I sit here and I kind of scan Twitter and see what kind of notes we get out of the pregame the pregame meetings, any kind of pregame interviews today, one of the things the transaction log, kind of looking at that and wondering if they might just wait till tomorrow before the Milwaukee series. But as I look right now at this team, and Chris Roycroft last night comes in the has a really rough top of the 9th inning, first time that he's pitched for the Cardinals since late May. And I know there was so much talk the day before about the at-bats of Ryan Vilade and kind of looking at his future, not only with the St. Louis Cardinals, but I think the Cardinal organization as a whole. When you see some of the guys that are being moved up from AA to AAA, you kind of look at this roster right now that the Cardinals have. And yeah, they're in playoff contention. But it almost seems as if with the lack of playing time that Barrero's getting, with the at-bats that we saw out of Ryan Vilade, with the ineffectiveness out of Chris Roycroft, who got hit hard in Texas and then got sent down and then gets called up and gets hit again yesterday against the Blue Jays, it almost seems like this is a team right now that's playing with only 23 guys. You have 23 guys on your roster right now, and I know some of it is health related with Jordan Walker at the moment. Ryan Vilade wouldn't be up here if Jordan Walker wasn't hurt. But you have a roster that is in need of a little turnover right now to give you 1 through 26 of guys that can contribute to this team. And that right now, I mean, Jose Barrero, I think right now is one of those guys where you kind of look down and you're, he's still on the roster. Okay. I what do we do with him in these situations? And as this team continues to stay in contention, you need to start kind of looking at who is going to contribute these final few months of the season.
Yeah, I think with Vilade, it's obvious he'll get sent back down once Jordan Walker is healthy, which shouldn't be too long. The Barrero one's interesting because he can play everywhere. He can play 3 of the infield spots, every outfield spot, so he's a great defensive replacement. The problem is, do you want to send him down and bring up a younger guy that won't get at-bats? Because I don't think they're planning on using that 26th guy, that last bat, that often. So it's a problem of you got to have a veteran in your AAA roster that you feel comfortable switching out with Barrero that is fine to not get at bats, but also can contribute when his name's called. So that's the balancing act you have to do. And Vilade, no, like he needs to be sent down. I'm totally fine with that once Jordan Walker gets back. But Barrero, he's so versatile. With where you can play defensively in those late innings, I'm okay if he stays on the major league club.
You have, but with you have Sajaci down there who is getting at bats every day, who's playing, who's going to be, wouldn't get the same amount here, but you would think he would contribute and take a lot better swings than what we saw to Vilade the other day. And if you're not going to play Barrero, if Vilade is just out there and is to this point an automatic out, it's a situation of Michael Ciani comes back up and gives you above average defense to where you're at least getting a somewhat of a positive out of that roster spot, out of that spot in the order.
Yeah, I agree with that. Now, I don't know with the options if they call Ciani up, if they have to send him back down, or they make a roster move if he's DFA'd at that point. I'm not sure. So that could be part of the reasoning, is they don't want to call him up if he's not staying with the major league club, because Vilade obviously isn't going to. But yeah, I agree. Like calling him up over Barrero or even Vilade would have made more sense, in my opinion, for the short term either way.
We will we'll hear more about Cardinal pregame stuff coming up at the top of the hour with Randy Carricker, as the Randy Carricker Show featuring Brooke Grimsey comes your way right here on STL Sports Central at 10:02 this morning. A few guests on the docket as well for them, so stay tuned for that, and then I'll be back on with your post-game show later on this afternoon. 1:15 start time for the game today. Will come to your way as soon as the last out is made, and hopefully the Cardinals will avoid a sweep to the hands of the Toronto Blue Jays before they head up to Milwaukee and get back into some National League Central action for a long weekend up there. For Grant Salsman, I'm Joe Roderick. This has been Card Central 365, powered by Graybar here on STL Sports Central. All content brought to you by DraftKings. The crown is yours.